Welcome to Bunny Hugs and Mental Health, the podcast that deals with all things mental health. We talk to professionals, survivors, and loved ones about their sometimes informative, sometimes uplifting, and sometimes tragic stories. I'm your host of the show, Todd Rennebaum, advocate, recovering addict, experienced sufferer of depression and anxiety, and author of the children's book, Sometimes Daddy Cries. Hello and welcome to another episode of Bunny Hugs and Mental Health. I am your host, Todd Rennebaum. Thank you so much again for tuning in. And thank you again for everybody that sent in questions or comments. And I'm going to read a couple real quick here. This one's from JC Dawn, and she is talking about last week's episode with the Coffin Confessor, Bill Edgar. This was an amazing interview. I'm amazed with all the trauma he has endured and the strength he has today. Also makes me realize I need to find a hobby just for me. Thank you so much, JC Don. And this is another one from Jessica Seffler-Nagy. Now, normally I don't say the full last names, but she was actually a guest on this podcast back in episode 31. She says, I can't imagine how rewarding, healing, and heartbreaking all in the same breath his role is. And if you want to find out what they're talking about, well, check out last week's episode. It was a really good one, as they all are. Now next week, I am speaking with Angelica, and she played in high-level sports, soccer to be exact, and we talk about the mental health issues that she had in high school and some of the disappointments she had as an athlete and then the heartbreak she got from that. And we also talk about her podcast, The Revolutionized Mind. Now, this week I am speaking with Tessa, and she has been diagnosed with narcissism, or narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. This episode's quite fascinating. I learned a lot about cluster Bs and narcissism. It's a little bit longer episode. It's just, she was just really great to talk to, and I kept learning, and so I thought, why not? Well, it'll be a little bit longer this week. We talk about what it's like having narcissism, how it's trauma-based. We talk about some treatments. We talk about when she got diagnosed, and we talk a lot about the stigma and maybe some of the misconceptions out there about NPD. I met Tessa on Instagram, where her account, she's quite open about her narcissism and her treatment and what it's like living with narcissism and having a partner that's a bit of an empath. So you can check that out. It's spirit.narc on Instagram, and she also has a YouTube page, Spirit Narc. I'll put those links in the show notes as well. But for now, without further ado, I give you Tessa.
The thing with narcissists, this is like a thing. I've talked to a lot of them, and we like control. We like to have like the editing. We like to, it's a self-image thing. It's like, give us absolute control of the editing, we want to appear a certain way. So this is actually a very big step out of my comfort zone to do this. And I was like, I brought my friend over. I was like, hype me up, please. He spent the whole day. He took me shopping. He was like, we got an outfit for this, like specifically. I was just like, yeah, man, you gotta hype me up.
Well, you look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
When you say friend, is is that your empath?
No, it's another friend. My empath, yeah, he lives with me, but yeah, he's very supportive too. Supportive people. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. I have 2 people in my real life who accept me. It's not very much. It's really weird because like with a diagnosis like I have, you don't get a lot of people who accept you. It's not something you can just share with the world. Like I have NPD,
Well, for me, at my age, I'm the opposite. It's there's not too many people I want in my life.
Really?
It's like, 2 friends, that's good. I'm good with that.
Yeah, you like to keep your circle small, huh? Yeah. It's honestly, I'm the same way, which is like interesting. I think people think that narcissists want just like a ton of friends, but we're individuals, which is what I want to stress so much to people. Like, a lot of people want to just think that all narcissists are the same, or like all of them want like a ton of friends to just like, well, okay, there is some truth to that. I want to be seen as like really popular. I'm gonna be honest. But I actually do just want a like inner circle of people who just accept me and really just like me for who I am. And I've started wanting that more and more as I kind of go along with my self-awareness journey
Hmm.
and become more authentic. I just want to settle down, man, and just like have somewhat of a normal life. I'm tired. I'm tired, you know?
Well, when I quit drinking about 6 years ago, that was kind of
Mm.
my self journey, and it was like my friendships went from quantity to quality. You know what I mean? It's like I want good quality friends now. I don't want just a bunch of people I like drinking with.
Yeah. Like I used to feel like I just wanted a bunch of quantity over quality because that's what looks cool. And I sometimes I feel like I still live in high school. I'm gonna be honest. Like I wanted the image of just a bunch of friends, and now I'm just tired. I mean, I developed PTSD because of my psychedelic experience, and that's what originally made me like become self-aware. And I'm just tired now. Like I just wanna have somewhat of a decent, like happy life. And that's originally why I started my page. Because I'm tired of the stigma. I'm tired of like people having this one image of NPD, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll be honest. I've learned a lot from your page and from
Thank
um,
you.
just other cluster B pages I started following in the last year or so, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's eye opening. It's like, oh, and it makes sense, right? I mean, it's almost all mental illnesses and disorders are like trauma based. So then it's like once you realize that, and once you kind of dig into your own traumas, then you kind of have some empathy for people other than just, oh, they're
Mm.
manipulative little fuckers, and oh, they just want to see me get destroyed, and it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
they're suffering. They're not assholes.
I'm curious, like, what's something that you used to believe that you kind of learned from my page that you don't believe anymore as much?
Mostly I guess that you guys you people
You people over there.
that you're suffering from this. It's not like you choose to
It's
be this
mm,
way, and that it's a disorder. Also, that it's a disorder, which means you can be
yeah,
treated. It's not,
it's manageable.
yeah.
I feel I'm suffering every day, if I'm being honest. Like I'm always going through something. And I don't like to admit that a lot of times, but it's more than just like um we just go around like hurting people and just getting off scot-free, which I feel like a lot of those posts about narcissists try to like emulate, or like not emulate, what's the word, like portray. Like they just post like I mean you see it everywhere, like the narcissist does this and they just like try to hurt you, they're out to get you, and then they just go and sleep and they sleep like a baby, and like it's like what are you doing, you know? Like it all comes across like that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of talking about my suffering, but like um I feel like it's just it's hard to I'm sorry. I'm like backing out. I'm backing out. I want to talk about it, but I don't know how. You know, maybe you could like ask me a question.
Sure.
I want to give
First, I would like to kind of relate.
hmm,
So when I was drinking and using and stuff,
yeah.
I kind of the other day kind of compared cluster B, all cluster Bs to addiction, and it's like, well, maybe addiction should actually be in the cluster B because people look at
Mm.
people with addiction and oh, they're fucking low lives and they're all assholes and they'll steal from you and all this stuff,
Oh my God.
and it's like,
Mm.
well, yeah, we kind of do when we're untreated, right? When we're untreated and we're completely unaware. And when I was sick, I was a bastard. But now that
you know.
That's stigma right there. Exactly. And like the thing is, not everyone who has an addiction is also going to do those behaviors.
Right,
So right
right.
there, that's stigma.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in it. Like you
Yeah,
know what it's like.
yeah.
It's terrible, isn't it? It fucking sucks.
But once you start to treat it and manage it, and you know, I was also suffering. Like I wasn't in a good place being an addict. Like you know, I was like, this fucking sucks. My life is hell right now, and I'm just causing hell all around me. So, I kind of wonder if like addiction shouldn't be somewhat. Well, they do call it a substance disorder. So I guess a disorder is manageable and whatnot. So
Yeah. I
anyway,
can relate to that. When I was undiagnosed and unself-aware, I was a I was a little shit. I'll just say that. Like and once again, not every narcissist is going to be abusive. And I want to put that out there because something like exploiting somebody is only one of the criteria, and it
exploding,
takes exploiting, like
exploiting. Oh,
exploiting
sorry,
someone.
you're
Exploding.
blowing people up.
One of the criteria, I guess. No, but like people always bring that up. Oh, narcissists exploit you. Like they take from you, they fuck with you, like whatever. That's only one of the criteria, and you only need like 5 out of 9, I think, to be diagnosed. So not all of them will be abusive, but I was one of them that was. And when I was unself-aware, I had like an ex, and I was with him for 4 years, and God, I don't want to go into it too much, but I did kind of ruin the man's life. I'll just say it. Like it was bad.
I
I did
shouldn't
some
laugh.
things.
At
You
the
shouldn't
time,
laugh.
he's good now. Is his life okay now?
He was a terrible person. You can
Oh,
laugh, honestly. He was terrible.
okay.
He No, exactly. We're glad that he was a terrible person. He was also abusive. It's a long story, but terrible relationship. Glad that I never am gonna see him again. But like the point is, I mean, like I was in a similar situation to you. I mean, like when you're suffering, when you're untreated, you're gonna do some shit sometimes. And I think people need to see the bigger picture, if that makes sense. Like, instead of throwing stigmatizing stuff at people, it's not helping anyone. Like who is it helping when people are posting this stuff? That's what I really want people to think about. I've been telling people this like for so long. When you're posting these hate posts, who is it helping? Is it helping abuse survivors? Because it's saying horrible stuff like, I've seen I've seen some stuff saying like narcissists should all be put on an island and just like I'm serious, like just like left to just hang out all with each other, or like narcissists should be like executed, or like they should be like whatever. It's terrible shit, and it's like spreading hate when we should be spreading healing on both sides. Like tell abuse survivors the signs of emotional abuse. Why do you need to bring a diagnosis like NPD into it? Like narcissistic abuse. I mean, we aren't going around saying like ADHD abuse, but people with ADHD can be abusive. We aren't saying addiction abuse, but people with addiction can be abusive.
Well, there's definitely
Like
negative memes about addiction too, but yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there can be. Or like people with depression can be
That's very selfish.
they,
Well, I was
they
very
can be
selfish.
selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to come at you or anything for like
No,
anything.
no, I'm good.
Yeah, like exactly. Like what I'm trying to say is like, why don't we jump on that bandwagon? And I want to make it like aware to people that there's this guy out there called Sam Vaknin, and he created these terms like narcissistic abuse, and he started spreading them around, and everyone started hopping on this bandwagon, and now it's become this pop culture thing. But I don't believe it needs to be a thing. I think it's harmful. I think that it keeps these people who are like desperate because they've been through real abuse. They've really been hurt. They're now going around in their heads, is my abuser a narcissist? Are they, do they have NPD? Oh my God, I think they did. I hate narcissists. And then the worst of them, they go on the internet and they attack anyone with NPD. They've come on my page, they've harassed me, they've harassed my followers, and these are strangers. Like, and I don't understand how how they think it's okay to like I mean, they're strangers. Like, how do you attack a random stranger just because you think like your ex had that diagnosis? Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're individuals, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that
And
doesn't make sense to me,
and
you
even if
know?
your ex is narcissist, like
It's
you,
hard.
you're more than just your diagnosis. It's like,
Oh my
yeah,
God, absolutely. And people don't believe that either. They think like, well, I mean, in my opinion, it's complicated because when you have a personality disorder, um, God, I kind of see it as like having, maybe this isn't the best description, but like a cancer, it like invades every part of you, but at the same time, you are an individual. You have your own likes and dislikes and dreams and hopes. And I have talked to other narcissists personally, and some of them are my best friends. And like, we are very different. Like, we have different humor, we have different life stories. I mean, we have different, some of us are like introverted, some of us are extroverted. We have different vibes. We're individuals.
yeah,
Yeah.
and even like you said, you even have different symptoms.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, I think the only thing that's similar about us is like our general way of reacting to trauma. Like, for example, insults, narcissists can tend to be like hypersensitive to insults because, like, you know, if you feel slighted or like your self-image, like my self-image, for example, feels like very reliant on exactly what other people think of me because I view the world as like you are what other people say about you. And I think that goes for everybody. Like, if people think you are pretty, then you're pretty. If people think you're ugly, then you're ugly. I just think that's how it is. I think like if people think you're successful, you are. If they think you're not, you aren't. If they think you're charismatic, you are. If they think like everything relies on other people.
So
So
I am old, fat, and hairy.
I know. Did someone say that to you? Oh my God. I
No,
will, whoever that person is, I will go and I will like talk to them personally now. Like, I am so mad.
no. I don't know. Maybe
You're
someone did. I'm just being a
how
smartass.
you're amazing and your podcast is incredible. So there you go.
Oh well,
You heard
thank
it
you.
from me. You heard it from me now.
Okay, so I am amazing. Well, my podcast that has nothing to do with me, really, in a way. But anyway,
No, yeah, but like that's what I believe. So like, you know, if you think like that, your self-image is like, yeah, like if anyone says anything about you, it's like your whole world is gonna collapse, right?
mhm.
If yeah.
That's pretty common with all the cluster bees, isn't it? It's like they take
Mm,
rejection and criticism pretty hard. Well, I mean, it can be right because all the symptoms you
yeah.
need 5 out of the 9 or whatever. But that's
Well, I can't speak. I'm not gonna speak too much for the other cluster bees, but I
right.
think so.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
yeah. I think like with borderline personality and stuff, it's very.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bestie with borderline, but I try not to speak for the other ones. I
Mhm.
only post about NPD because I feel like they'll come for me if I post misinformation. We're all very,
That's
very sensitive.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
No.
living on a minefield.
So you're also smart. That's good. That's
Thank you.
good.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So what was your early life like? Like was it
Um,
full of trauma, or were you like a nice simple family and everything was good, and then boom, you
oh,
got NPD?
how I wish it was nice and simple at any point. Oh my God. It's more like it was never, I had 19 years of just never ending.
Oh,
God, how do I explain this? The words won't come out. I actually make up a childhood for myself because I would rather do that. I did
mm.
not like my childhood at all. Like, do you want me to be honest? Do you want the
Of
long story?
course, yes, yes.
Why did I even ask that? I'm so sorry. Do you want the long story or the short story? Or like
I want
the
the
medium?
I want the long story, baby. I don't
Okay.
know why I called you baby just then.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. So,
By the way, I'm
I
very proud of you right now.
thank you. Yeah, this is a hard question. I told you that over DMs. So I did not have like a normal childhood at all. to a point where I actually cut off myself into like three different categories. I don't consider my like I basically like I'm a very fragmented person and I don't consider my past to be me because I don't like anything about it. So I this is gonna be like hard for people to comprehend, but I have like a past self and I'm just like I'm not that person. And then I just have like me now. So it's so confusing.
No, I
um
get it. It's almost like DID in a way.
yeah,
Kinda.
yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
It's very complicated. DID is more where like people have multiple like multiple people inside them that will like front. So like let's just say like I'm a person that's staring at you right now, and then there's like multiple people inside me that will come to the front right now, but I it's not like that. It's
Right.
more like
Right. I
I'm
was
just like
totally
I'm
wrong
on my
actually. Now they say that.
yeah, no, it's okay. I'm educating you. It's all
I
good.
spoke to
It's
someone
like
with DID last week, so
really,
I should know better.
yeah, no, it's okay. I'll remind you, but like it's yeah, I knew someone, I knew a lot of people. I know a lot of people actually with DID, but and NPD too. It's interesting how there's people with both, but like it's more like I just cut like just cut off my past and I just never looked back. And I feel like the way I became the way I am is like I had so much trauma just like daily um and it just never ended. And when you go through that sort of suffering, one day you just decide that like you're done with your life as it is, and like you're done with everything and you're done with yourself. So um I started like I just hated everything about my past. You can take that however you want to, but like I remember there was a point where I decided I was so tired of not getting any attention. And I was just like there was so much like neglect and like watching other people um like get what I wanted so bad. So I like decided that I would um sorry, this is like kind of hard. Like become the main character. And I would do that any way that I could. And even if it meant being inauthentic to myself. So I always idolized people growing up. And so I would like realize that these people were getting a lot of attention, and I would kind of like take from them, like mimic that because I saw that like, oh, this person's really great. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um,
You began to emulate them because you put them on a pedestal and you thought their life was
mm,
really, I don't know.
yeah, and it could be like celebrities or even like characters from a movie or anything like that. And I kept doing that for years. I was like, I'm not a normal person. I'm very fucked up. But like and it was like a hobby. It was like all I did sometimes. And it started out just like being me at home, but then I would start doing it in social situations and like I did that while repressing everything about my past, and I was determined to become perfect. In my head, that was like I was like cheating life. I would be like the perfect person by taking all these traits from all these people I deemed perfect myself.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
A literal life hack.
Yeah. Kind of. I mean, am I making sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I know, like I'm like confusing and fascinating. So like I'm I'm like so I don't even know if I make sense half the time I'm speaking. So like yeah, I did that for like literal years until like I forgot at a certain point I forgot who I used to be. And there was a point in life where I was really lost and I even lost my identity, and I almost qualified more for like I think like BPD at a certain point because I was just so confused and like empty and inside. And but I kept going until like I kind of like I became like this person that I considered perfect, and that's like who I feel I am now. Um, but then there's like another part to it where my life took an insane turn, and I took psychedelics, and I had this psychedelic trip, and I became like really too aware of myself. I developed PTSD. Yeah, my life was shattered, and that's how I found this community. And um, for a while I wished it didn't happen because it made me way too aware of who I really was, who I like was deep down and what I really felt inside and everything. But um I wouldn't look back, you know? Like I'm more happy and more authentic than I've ever felt and been, if that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
you were kind of suppressing your actual life,
So much shit.
and then
Yeah.
you created your own kind of persona, and then when you did
Yeah, but
mushrooms, or
yeah.
I'm assuming they were mushrooms when you're doing psychedelics.
It wasn't mushrooms at first. It was so the thing that I originally had like an ego death on. If, like, do you know what that is? Like an ego death trip. It's
No.
oh God. Some people are insane. They chase this like the ultimate psychedelic people. You know, the people that are like, I want to have the ultimate trip, man. Let's do this. They taste this ego death trip, and it's where you lose all lines of your sense of self and you become one with everything. I don't know if that sounds
Oh,
familiar.
that sounds, yeah. I want
Yeah,
that too,
that.
bro.
Oh my God, no, you don't. I'm just like,
I want to
I
be.
mean,
I just want to be
maybe
consciousness,
one.
man. I just want to be consciousness, and that's it.
I mean, honestly, they say that if you embrace it, it's supposed to be great. But I fought it because ego death is like, I think it's like the worst thing that could happen to someone like me. I mean, your literal ego dissolves. And when it happened to me, it was the worst thing ever. Like, it happened when I was with my ex. So he was not a safe person to do it with. And I took way too many edibles, and I think they were laced. And that's how it originally happened. And yeah, I had my ego just like died. And I became way too self-aware, and I developed PTSD from it because it was so scary. And I fought it. And like, yeah, that's how I became, because like they say like narcissists have a problem with like realizing themselves, you know? Like they just go around and do shit and they don't know why.
And like lack of empathy and all that.
Well, yeah, there's
That's what I
that.
always hear, anyway.
Yeah, there's that, but also like there's this thing where like they don't know why they do what they do. They just kind of like act. And there's a lot of like lack of awareness of um a lot of things. I always say it's like a diagnosis of repression. Like you're repressing all your emotions, you're repressing all your trauma. It's just boiling there beneath the surface, and you're lashing out. Sometimes maybe you're doing, I mean, not every narcissist is going to lash out, and not every narcissist is going to be abusive, but some are, some aren't. Maybe sometimes it's going to go in and like withdraw, but there's a lot of narcissists out there unself-aware running around just like suffering, and they don't even know they're suffering. They refuse to admit it a lot of times.
Hmm.
They just like shut that out. I know I would refuse to admit I was depressed even when I was being tested for my diagnosis, because that was before my psychedelic trip. Like I was just like they would ask me questions like, are you depressed? Me? No. I would just be like, no. Like, do you experience anxiety? No, not me. Like, like right. Like I would say, sorry, am I talking too much?
No.
Okay. I just realized you hadn't asked me a question in like so long.
The episode's about this, so that's nobody wants to hear
Okay.
me talk.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. But anyway, yeah, like they would, yeah, they just I don't know how to explain it, but like there's a lack of like self-reflection for sure that is there, that I think really needs to be broken through. And I have a lot of people come onto my page and ask me like, how can I save my narcissist? How can I help them realize themselves so I can help them heal? And a lot of times the narcissist is not in a place where they can self-reflect, and they're just, it usually takes a major life event like psychedelics or yeah, or honestly the death of a loved one, a major financial loss, or like a job loss. Like maybe they were a CEO at a company and really really valued that job, and then they got fired, and then they were just like, oh my god, my life is over. Maybe they tried to off themselves. That does happen sometimes. It's tragic, but like they ended up somewhere and they were like, I need to take a second look at myself. It's usually something really, really major.
This sounds a lot like
And
addiction, like hitting rock bottom or whatever. Yeah. And
it
trying to
kind of
force
is. And then
someone to be better, and they're like, no, I'm not ready until I'm ready.
no, it's so crazy. It kind of is like addiction, but it's addiction to like feeling good about like
Avoiding feelings.
yeah, avoiding feelings, avoiding feelings and feeling like getting praise. Like it's almost an addiction to that. Like avoiding yourself and feeling good about yourself and not facing yourself ever.
Well, I think,
Kind of.
well, it's something I've been learning in the last year or so is like most disorders it's about just surviving. And that's what they need to do. These people, need to do to survive. It's a defense mechanism. It's what helped them
yeah.
get through life. And I think your
Yeah.
psychedelic trip was actually ultimately a good thing because it did start your healing journey. You had to stop avoiding those feelings and your trauma and stuff, and you had to deal with it to
Yeah.
be able to heal and move forward.
And I think it was ultimately a good thing, but I want to stress that like it wasn't easy for sure. Like
Yeah.
I almost didn't make it. I did contemplate, like I was not in a good place several times. I was very depressed sometimes. I almost didn't make it. Yeah, I do want to say that it was hard. And I do think that it proves that like those defense mechanisms are there for a reason. So I want to stress that like when people talk about NPD, they need to realize that like it is a protection from serious, serious pain. Like it's not just like these people chose to be this way, that they're just like out there being bad people and like getting no consequences. I mean, when you're fucking with a narcissist defense mechanisms and trying to like nudge it and like like a lot of people are just like, why can't they just stop? Because they can be little shits. I'm not gonna lie, they can be more than that. I mean, there's some nasty combinations out there. I mean, some narcissists do have like more traits on top of the NPD that can make them break the law. I mean, there's been some cases out there. I understand. I'm validating the trauma that can happen with abuse and stuff like that. But like what I'm trying to say is like when you're poking at defenses like that, you're messing with stuff that kept the person alive for their childhood. You don't know what someone's gone through.
It's like cornering a scared bear and poking it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the case with me. I had to work through, like, after my psychedelic experience, I had to work through layers of trauma. And I did not get along well with therapists. So I still have not gotten along well with therapists. And I've had to do my own CBT and
you're your own therapist now.
Yeah, I do.
You know how unhealthy
I'm just that great. What?
You know how unhealthy that sounds? So I prescribe myself psychedelics and CBT.
Does it really? I mean, it's been working for me so far.
Well, that's good.
I gotta admit, I was in a lot of emotional distress though last week, and I was just like, I don't know how much longer I can hold out though. Like, I think I need to reconsider maybe going to there's this really good guy, Eric Russ. For anyone with NPD who's watching this, he's like very renowned and he's done several studies on NPD and like actually coined like I think like the oscillation between like covert and overt narcissism, which for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, people try to say there's two types of narcissists, overt and covert, and that like a narcissist is one or the other, and it's found at like pathological levels that narcissists oscillate between the two. So if it's a true narcissist, they can be vulnerable sometimes and also really grandiose, and it depends on life events. Anyway, I'm nerding out, but like I've actually been getting really into psychology. I'm going to go back to college for that, but yeah. But like, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so just for anyone who's listening, he's a good therapist, but God, what was I saying before that? It was really important.
Well, you were considering going back to, you had a motion.
Going back to therapy, yeah. I have so far done self-therapy just because I had the most terrible experience with therapy. And my diagnosis was terrible experience. Just the neuropsychologist was awful. That's a whole nother story, but my therapist after being diagnosed was like, he said he specialized in NPD, and this was when I was going through PTSD, so I was hyper vigilant. I was having panic attacks every day, and as a narcissist, like to go through that type of emotion, you have this little voice in the back of your brain that's been trained to not appear weak. And when you're at your job and you're having like a panic attack at your job, that little voice wants to say, what are you even doing? Like, how dare you? Like, this isn't you. Like, you can't be pathetic. Like, what are you doing? So like my self-image was this close to like fucking like imploding. And I was just like desperate. I was so desperate. I went to therapy. Okay. And I was just like, I'll do anything to feel better. And my goal was to just feel better and get the hell out of there. I'm gonna be honest. I was just like, I want to feel better, and I'm never coming back. And then,
Okay, thank you. I'm cured. Bye.
yeah, literally. I know, just zooming on out of there. And then, yeah, and I was like, I he said he specialized in NP, and then he took a lot of my money, while not really saying much of value. And then one day he just said, I don't think I can help you, after taking like $2,000 from me. And I was furious.
American.
Yeah, no,
I'm in
like,
Canada. That's even more.
no, like I mean, like over a long period of time.
Yeah,
He was 150 per session though. So that's very, I don't know if that's a common price.
Yeah, it's about
in
that.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's messed up after so many sessions adding up. I was
Yeah,
furious.
that's
I
like,
was just like, should have told me off the start. I was just so furious. So I left immediately, and I was just like, I'm done. And now I do self-medicate with shrooms, and every time I do it, it lets out so much emotion. And I'm normally a fairly shallow emotion person. Like, I'll have emotions float across the surface of me, but it doesn't go deep. And then when I take these shroom sessions, I'll be screaming at the mirror, or like raging out privately in my room, or like crying. Like, and I don't cry often, and like it lets out some shit. I don't know what it is, but it's repressed, and I can't tell what I'm feeling half the time. So like whatever it is, I needed it. That's self-therapy. And then I'll do CBT worksheets, and I'll download them, and I'll just like work through my thoughts. And I feel like this is so important because I want people to know that like NPD can be managed, like the symptoms, like the lashing out. Why does that happen? You know, like, why do narcissists lash out? Because there's so much repressed bitterness and rage and fucking like resentment at maybe parents, at siblings, at whatever you want to list, bullies, friends, anyone in that childhood vicinity. God, like whatever that rage and
whatever
all
that.
that
Yeah, whoever's
like
involved in the trauma, really.
yeah, no, yeah, all, and it's not just one trauma, it's like years, it's like decades. I had 19 years of shit like just built up, and like you need to let that out, and it's not just gonna heal overnight. And I honestly feel like it's so deep. I mean, I was already having weird thoughts at like 4 years old, so you know that shit goes back. And I remember like looking up at my teacher at like age 4 and just like having like this weird thought of like, God, like, I don't know, like, I wish you were my mom. I don't know. It was just weird. It's just like, I know that something was going on, like, really young.
What
So, like,
what is your relationship with your parents like? Or is that kind of
I
a
can
the
talk about it a little bit. Um, my empath would describe it as like a
your
beautiful,
empath being your partner?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I call him my empath. It's cute. I don't want to. People have actually gotten mad at me for romanticizing that dynamic, the empath narcissist dynamic, but it's just like a cute nickname. I call him. I People can stay mad, whatever. It's cute,
Yeah, I'm pretty
but
upset about it.
yeah, yeah. Well, screw you. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fair. That's fair.
No. But yeah, what was I saying?
Uh,
Yeah,
he's describing your
he,
parents.
he he described he's been over to my house a lot and he's shy, but he stayed in the background and he talks to them sometimes. He's gotten to know them basically over a long period of time, and he described it as like a golden egg with nothing inside. Because
Mm.
they are very well off. They have like a little $1 million home just sitting in the hills. We go visit them, and I mean, they're pretty normal looking people on the outside. They don't do anything strange. They're just living the life. I have 2 siblings that are younger brothers who I literally have no relationship with. I don't connect to them. They don't connect to me. It feels like we're all constantly in competition with each other. Literally for Mother's Day, oh my God. My brother, I mean, this just says my family dynamic right here. My brother bought my mother a mug that just said like from your favorite child or something. And like I was literally like, I'm so sorry that you feel the need to show that through a mug. Like, we all know I'm the favorite child. I'm just saying. Like, why you feel the need to show that through a mug?
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Insecure
okay.
much?
I know, right? Like, I mean, I'm the favorite child because I am the most successful. I have my own apartment. I have my own car, which I bought myself. I got the good looks in the family. I'm gonna be honest. They know. They
You
know
sound like
that.
such a narcissist.
I'm sorry. I feel defensive right now because that mug pissed me off. I was like looking at that mug and I was just like, I was mad.
Yeah, well, I'm hot.
Like, I was like, oh, I should have thought of that. No, but it made me. I have never. I get sad though. Like I think it's sadness. I'm not sure. Like there's some emotion there where I wish I had siblings that I didn't feel that way about. I never had like that connection to them. It's just weird. Like I'll see like TV shows where there's like kids and like they're all siblings and they're connecting, and like one of my favorite celebrities has that dynamic with their family, and I'm just like,
Who's that?
yeesh. Oh, I don't
Come
I don't want
on.
to I don't want to share that because she inspired like so many of my mannerisms and stuff. Everyone wants to know. It's a theory on my page. They're like, "Who is she?" No.
Oh, I'll edit it out.
No way. Not gonna do it. But anyway, yeah, like it's just like seeing that from someone else, it's like, man, what did I miss out on sometimes? Like, and yeah, but like,
It is weird. Like,
it's
I know families that are so close, it's almost creepy. It's like,
no,
oh,
like
we all take our holidays together and we all hang out all week together. And it's
that
like,
also freaks me
the
out.
fuck?
That's like the other end of the spectrum where it's like, oh my God, that's a little much.
Absolutely.
Like I can't, I've had this family my whole life where I can't even imagine like a supportive family or like a close family. Like I almost like can't imagine it. It freaks me out.
Well, I mean, like
Oh
my
God,
family's supportive, but to spend an entire week with them, fuck, no way.
no, no, literally. And like, oh God, I'm supposed to move up to Washington with my empath, and his dad is the supportive dude. And I'm just like, please no group hugs. And he's like, there's gonna be a group hug. And I'm just like, no, no,
Right.
please, please stay away from me. And then he's like, nope, you're getting a group hug. And I'm like, no, no,
so,
please,
so you
spare
feel
me.
sad. Oh, I wish I had that, but don't touch me.
It's so
Yeah.
complicated.
I get it, though.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
But, yeah.
so your family life is complicated. They're
Mhm.
you're their favorite child, but you're skeptical of them.
No, I know I'm the favorite child, but I have like no connection to them. It's so
Uh,
strange.
what's their names?
I
What's their phone number? I'll call them up.
I told myself that I
Actually,
would
surprise! They're here now. Please welcome your.
I would just run. I would just be out the door. I told myself though, like as you know, I've started my healing journey that I would want to connect more with them by the time that they have passed on. Like I want to build that. I didn't used to want anything with them. I was just like, I want them to be grandparents to my kids that I want to have someday once I'm more healed. And now I'm just like, okay, I want to feel literally anything, something for the people that birthed me, like literally anything that would be nice.
Birthed me.
Yeah, like they're my parents, you know,
Yeah.
like I want to feel like something for them, you know, like it makes sense that I should. I want to try. I want to heal. I want to get to that point where I have healed enough where I'm the mature one. They had hard lives, and I know that.
Right. I was going to ask that. Do you think they're dealing with trauma
Oh God,
and it's
yes.
been
Like,
like their
oh,
parenting
they were.
styles have caused.
Oh my God, I know
Mm,
for a fact my dad struggles with empathy. I think he has antisocial traits, as in like ASBD. I think my mother struggles with empathy, but in a different way, where she may have like, I don't know. My dad definitely struggles with empathy, and I know that for certain. I don't know what my mom's issue is, but I know that I can't expose her. I'm not going to do that on the podcast, but I know that they have trauma, and I don't think that they were strong enough to be the generation, the cycle breakers, and I'm gonna have to be that person. And I pride myself on being like strong enough to not only be the cycle breaker, but to make history as like a narcissist that's willing to do this because it's very rare. And I know that, like I know how rare it is to speak out like this to someone with NPD.
hmm
So it drives me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that was one of my questions for you that I sent you was like, what
Yeah.
inspired you to start your page and to be so open about it and
Well,
your page on Instagram, I mean.
yeah, making history, first of all, like knowing that no one has ever really done what I'm doing. There are a few other pages out there that are claiming to be self-aware narcissists, but I don't know if I enjoy their approach. I'm not going to name names.
You're in
It's kind of
competition with them, it sounds like.
a little bit, but it's not even maybe a little bit, but it's not even the competition that I dislike. It's the way that they just play into the stigma. They are really just, I want to just say sellouts without naming names again. They just they basically tell people what they want to hear. Oh, yes, the narcissist does do this, guys. Oh, for sure. Follow me. That's their rhetoric. Follow me and I'll tell you what you want to hear about your narcissist. And then I'm just like, nope, here's the truth, guys. Like, here's why I suffer. Here's why I do what I do. Like, and I try not to edit anything. I just try to be as honest as possible. And the other reason why I started my page, if you want me to be completely honest, I did start it for followers at first. And I've told everyone this. Everyone knows this already. This is like very well-known story. Like I started it because I was like, I mean, well, first I was looking for a place to go after my psychedelic experience where I was just like literally dying every day. Because PTSD, which is the condition I was mostly dealing with at the time over my NPD, was just literally kicking my ass. It was hell to deal with. Like every day I was just hyper vigilant. Like I could hear everything and just like hyper vigilant of people, just like I couldn't go out in public without having a breakdown and a panic. And I had one in Target today, but it's so much less now. Like I can ground myself. Back then it was just a no-go. I would stay in the house and then I wouldn't be getting any attention, so I would be literally dying. Um, it was just hell. And I was like desperately searching for help. So I went on Reddit first and I was like on r/NPD, and I didn't really enjoy that because Reddit is Reddit. And like, there's all types of people on Reddit, and there was a community there, but we got some little edgelords on there, and I feel like they're like 18 and they're typing on like their little computers, and they're just like, yeah, I got like ASPD, man, and I'm so edgy, and like, I'm just like, yeah, I wear all black, and I just like, like it just felt like that. It gave me that vibe, and I was just like,
Want to come over?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was just like, I don't think this is exactly authentic. And I tried Discord after that, and I found the same vibe there. And then I made this really nice friend, and she was on Reddit for a while, and she was a girl with BPD. And her story's kind of sad. She gave up on connection because her dogs passed away, and I was her best friend for a while, and I was like her favorite person, but she couldn't take it after her dogs passed, and she just cut off like the softer side of herself. But before she went, we made plans to go on Instagram together, and she was like, "Girl, you have to join Instagram. There's this whole community on here, I promise. I'm doing memes on there and I have like 1,000 followers. You'll love it." And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe. And then after she left, I was just alone. And I finally was just like, why not give it a try? And I was surprised how quickly I gained followers. That was the part. I was like, oh, yes, followers for the first time in my life.
The attention I've been looking for.
Oh, the attention. And I felt special because I brought something to the community that no one had ever seen before, which was me and my empath's dynamic, which was like rare. Like a lot of people were on there posting about, cluster B, but I was having this dynamic with an empath. And God, every time I feel like I'm romanticizing that, I'm like, people are gonna hate me. I mean, he is.
Are you looking at him?
Someone with what?
When you looked off camera, were you looking at him? Is he there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just imagining. I was like looking at the invisible audience of people hating me. He's to explain. He is someone with ADHD, which is common for people to be hyper empathetic, and he has BPD traits. So, and the my empath thing is kind of like a cute thing we do. But anyway, yeah, I just don't want to get canceled. Please don't cancel me.
I don't know why.
But like,
that'd be bizarre if you got canceled in the narcissistic community because
there's only some people that have complained about it.
Because
but
you're just being honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what was I saying? Yeah, so I started gaining followers, and at first it was just about the followers, but I told people that, and I was honest from the beginning, and I said like the moment where it became more than that, because these people, I did not expect this, but they freaking saved me, man. Like they saved me from the darkest period in my life. I found other people with my diagnosis and people with BPD who became, some of my best friends. Like there's this guy, Joe, like shout out to Joe. He's amazing. And Joe, if you're listening to this, like when it comes out, I love you, dude. Like you're fucking incredible. He has worked me through some of the worst moments of my life. He's been there when I raged out a few times, and he's just been like, oh, you narc. Like, let's wait till she calms down. Okay, I'm here. I love you. Like, he's just been incredible. He's my gay bestie. Like, he's so awesome. And like,
Did you just out him?
Oh no,
Okay.
he is out and proud.
Okay.
He's out and proud,
and
I love it.
That would have been juicy. Then you would have been canceled.
Then I would have been canceled. No, I literally posted a guy that was just like my friend on my story, and I was like, okay, guys, it was something serious about the dude, and he just like texted me, and he was like, oh my God, he is like a 10. And I'm like, Joe, focus on the problem. Focus on the serious stuff, man.
I look at your story. I look at your stories all the time. I rarely read it all because there's a lot of text. Like, and you'll have like 30 a day, and it's like, I'm not reading all that.
I try to keep it. I try to keep it at 10. I mean, I do a lot, yeah.
But you'll show a conversation, then a response, and then a paragraph and I'm like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I have ADHD myself, so it's like
I feel like the people with ADHD, they probably just like look at the first 5, and I'm okay with that because then I get people saying, oh my God, your life is like a telenovela or something, like however you say that. Like, oh my God, your life is so entertaining. Like, please post more. And I'm just like, I live for you. I live for this text, please. And then the people with ADHD are like, oh my God, Tessa, it has posted 500 stories again. Yeah. Oh my God.
Just show me some pretty pictures or something. Where's a picture of your empath? I'm not reading. I have a job to get to.
Y'all don't have to read all that stuff. But anyway, yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I told everyone the moment that I was serious, and like it became more than just following to me. And there's so many people I could shout out, like, oh God, who's someone else? Oh, the Nameless Narcissist, shout out to him.
I think I'm not follow him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say his real name. He would like smite me if I said, because the Nameless Narcissist, you know, he wants to remain nameless, but he's fantastic and just amazing, and he is one of the only other honest people on YouTube.
On YouTube, he's a YouTuber.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber. He has an Instagram, but only because I like bullied him into starting it. I was just like,
you controlled him.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man, you gotta start your Instagram. There's people asking about you. Because I posted like his, what did I do? Like a YouTube video of his, and then people were like, we want to see his Instagram. We want to see his Instagram, because he was like wearing glasses, and I guess that's mysterious. People want to see your face or something.
Huh. Okay.
I guess that's like
Clark Kent.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like apparently like that's an NPD symbol, is wearing glasses, because of like the facade thing.
It's like a mask.
Yeah.
Do you follow?
But yeah,
do you follow Mind Over Mood?
I've heard of her. I don't think I do though. Is she one of your besties?
Yeah.
Is she like?
She's my social media bestie. And it's funny. I've talked to a few people that I've met on TikTok and Instagram and stuff that I've interviewed for the podcast, and it's like, you hear about all the negative things about social media and how it causes anxiety in people and all this stuff. And it's like,
it can,
yeah,
but you make friends, you make close bonds sometimes.
Yeah. You find people that can relate, and you get this little support group going and stuff. And it's
it can really
polarizing, I guess.
It can really boost you up. Yeah. Cause like, if you're having a bad day and you just go on and you're like, hey, you know, Joe, I want to talk to you or something, like one of your friends on there, you're like, because you know that person can relate to you when maybe someone in real life couldn't. Like, you know, I have good friends in real life, but God, they just either don't know my diagnosis, or they just, they don't get it, you know, like some people just don't get it. Yeah.
Never mind. I just asked that.
Oh, going through your list of questions. Yeah, we talked a lot.
Um, you can keep going while I. What were we just talking about?
I think we're talking about how I started, or like,
Oh
have
yeah,
we
yeah.
discussed my diagnosis?
Pardon me.
My diagnosis, like how I got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll edit this chunk out. So please tell all the listeners, Tessa, how did you get diagnosed?
Okay, so my diagnosis story is pretty like interesting. So when COVID started in 2020, my parents put our entire house on lockdown, including me and all my brothers. And we kind of went stir crazy. And it wasn't as bad for my brothers as it was for me because I kind of need like people and attention to survive. So after like 2 months, I think I kind of like lost it and I actually ran away to my ex's house and I was in my rebellious phase and everything. So I started doing a lot of drugs. Not the best start. I know, but like yeah, like everything from alcohol to weed to lots of things. And my parents found out and I was on like medication at the time, so they were furious. They were just furious anyway because they're very uptight people. So they told my psychiatrist and my therapist, and literally they were so mad that they couldn't control me because I was out of the house and they couldn't bring me back in because they were terrified of COVID. They were those types of people that like literally wore a mask everywhere, didn't go out. They were just so mad at me. That they like yeah, they basically told all my doctors and made my psychiatrist request a neuropsych exam, and he requested a differential diagnosis, which is just basically like examine this lady. So they did a bunch of tests, like they did a full neuropsych exam, which is like attention tests, intelligence tests, and I was not compliant. I was not very happy about that. And I actually smoked cannabis during the testing, and my neuropsychologist was like, literally, like, why? And I was just like, well, I find it insulting that you're testing my intelligence. And literally, I can just like imagine her writing on her freaking notepad, arrogant little shit, or something like that. Like, what the fuck?
Entitled bitch.
No, I was literally like, no, but really, like, how dare you? Like, you're testing my intelligence. Like, for what? What if I get 1 point off? So, like, I'm dumb or something? Like, how dare you? Like, how freaking, I'm still so mad. I can't.
I can see your face getting
But
red.
I'm angry. Like, this lasts. This shit lasts. But yeah, so they did that, and then they would have me also like do tests where like there was like a red dot on a screen and I had to click every time I saw it. I had to like remember a list of words. So I think that was memory or something. And then I had to take the MCMI and the MPI, which are really long tests with really weird questions. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They're like, God, they're these horrible tests that have validity scales, as I later found out. And God, I tried to present myself in like the way I wanted to, but validity scales check your answers. And like they apparently like somehow know how to, I guess, like, yeah, like figure you out. So I was diagnosed shortly after that with NPD, just like a personality disorder, and then that was the one I scored. I maxed out on the category.
You got 100%.
I got 100%. I passed.
I am smart.
Exactly. I'm smart. God damn it. No, but like, oh my God. I was just like, oh, Jesus. And then that was in December 2020, and I was, I think, 22 at the time, and I'm 23 now, so I'm almost 24, so it's been almost 2 years. And I had my psychedelic ego death in January 2021. So that was after I was diagnosed, because guess what I did after? I just went and did more drugs. I was just like, I'm not doing this shit. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. This sucks.
Yeah. I'm trying to avoid my feelings, damn it.
Exactly. And I was just like, and of course the universe kicked my ass for it. But yeah, that's my
Mm.
diagnosis story. And it was very interesting. And when my partner later found out I maxed out on the category, he just laughed at me and he was just like, "Yeah, you're my narcissist." And I was like, I was
Womp
like
womp.
covered my face. Oh god.
Well,
But yeah,
at least you
that's
know, and you're like,
yeah.
you're aware, which is a big part of it. You're accepted the diagnosis, it seems, so that's even a bigger
Oh,
part.
literally, I didn't accept it until, it's kind of ironic. The day I accepted it was when I found out how rare narcissists are.
I'm special.
I know, literally, I was like, oh wait, we're actually really rare. Oh, okay, I'm never mind. Like, okay, I'm a narcissist. Like, this is proof. Like, I'm really unique. And then I was like, oh God.
I love that. It's actually
Oh
not
my.
ironic, really, when you think about it. It's
Mhm.
actually, yeah, that's about
And
right.
people challenge me all the time on that. They're like, "No, they're not rare." And I'm like, "Well, narcissistic traits are not rare.
Right.
Like those are common when people get into like, I mean, traits arise when you've been through a traumatic situation, and it's a defensive mechanism. So like, it's if you've been through something tough, traits are going to pop out. But the difference between like NPD and just traits is like NPD is like consistent across all time and all moods and all years. And it usually starts around like maybe I think like 17 or 18. And it is lifelong. And traits will be like situational sometimes. So like, yeah, for people who are wondering, that's actually really important. Like traits, maybe you went through a tough situation at work and you're grumpy or you're really angry at something, or maybe you went through a traumatic situation and you're defensive. Those traits will appear, but once the situation's over, it could take a year, it could take 6 months, it could take 3 months. Those traits will dissipate once the situation dissipates, if that makes sense. That's so important because people always ask, what's the difference? Like, how can I tell if it's just traits in a person? Also, you have to suffer. Like, if you have the actual diagnosis, the symptoms have to get in the way of your life. So if you just have traits, you're going to be like, you're not going to be suffering or like in distress too much. Maybe there's some arrogant fucking people out there that just have like, I don't know.
There's dickheads.
Yeah, or like maybe they were raised like super, super rich. I mean, I'm talking like millionaires, like billionaires, and like a they don't have a scope of the world. They don't know what it's like to be
Just out of
not
touch.
having those things. So maybe yeah, they're out of touch. Yeah. Like God, what was it? Like Kim Kardashian recently said something that was so fucking funny. She was like, "You just gotta work hard," or something like that. It was in the news. Yeah, yeah. And people were cracking up. You're just like, lady, you're so out of touch. I mean, even I know I'm a freaking narcissist, and I'm just like, what? Look, I work hard. I work hard. I'm working hard for my fame. I'm working hard for my stuff. I'm just like, oh my God. Like it's out of touch arrogance and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a former best friend that I I assume was narcissistic, but it's like because he's such a fucker. It's like, but it's like it's just I think it's just stigma. It's just like that term gets thrown around so
Mhm.
much that I was like, but yeah, but I don't know if I don't think he's ever like. I think he's just a dickhead. Like he doesn't have
Yeah.
a trauma. He was. It's not. I think it didn't start when his late teens. I think he was just probably always a dickhead, and it's just nature versus nurture. And I think his parents just raised him to be a dickhead.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he just doesn't have manners. I don't know. Well, it depends. Like, what does he do that's like narcissistic?
He just he manipulates and tries to control everybody in his bubble and tries to walk around with this perfect bubble of his own little cult. And
Well, maybe he has trauma that he doesn't share with people, because that kind of sounds like it could be from trauma. When usually
maybe.
when people try to control other people, control is like so safe. Okay. When I came on this podcast, I felt initially like I was uncomfortable with the lack of control. Now I feel pretty great because like I've eased into it. But
And I'm so good looking and charming.
oh, thank you.
No, I am.
Oh, oh, I thought you were complimenting me. Now
No,
I'm
because
mad.
I'm good looking and charming, you've relaxed. You are a
Oh,
narcissist. You thought I was talking about you.
I'm just like gonna be so happy. You should compliment me. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, no, you're a fat old hairy man. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
No, you're great. You're great. Okay. What was I saying? Well, so control, when people act in a controlling way, it's because it feels safe. Like they want their environment to be safe. And usually that comes from some sort of trauma. And, like maybe when he's controlling everyone in his bubble, it's because he wants to feel safe with like the people around him. Maybe he's afraid that they're going to leave him, or like that's a common thing more with like anxiety. Or maybe I don't know. It could be many things. Where someone sees a manipulative jerk, maybe it could be someone who's terrified of the people around him leaving him if he doesn't manipulate them. It's just fascinating to me. Oh God, I love psychology so much.
Well, the other
I
thing
do.
is too, it's like it's hard to compare trauma. So like maybe it was trauma for him, but I look at his trauma and I'm like, that's not trauma. Poo poo, right? And I poo poo it, but because
I see it from that lens. I mean, like I see it from the lens of someone who has manipulated people in the past because of trauma, as a trauma response. Sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it. So like it's easier for me to be like, no, that could be this, that could be that. This person could be doing all these things. Like I'm not really like the type of person to be afraid of people leaving me. I don't really care. Like because I could just replace them. But like it's what do I do? Like it's what is it for me? It's like I feel like I tended in the past, I'm trying to do this way less now, but like I tended to see people as like props in this grand play that was my life. And I was trying to relive all the experiences I had missed out on. And there were so many. And, I would just be like upset if this person wouldn't be playing their part. I would just be really like sad almost, or like bitter or resentful. And I would just be like, come on, like, I wouldn't see it as manipulation as much as like just disappointed, or like I would be disappointed
Hmm.
if that made sense.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes I'd get rid of people just for not playing their part in my so-called story of my life, if that
Hmm.
made sense.
You're cut from the
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. Like it was kind of like that. But I didn't see it as like, I can't wait to target people. That's what
Yeah,
people think
right. No.
narcissists do.
Yeah.
Oh
You're looking for
God.
marks. I'm gonna fuck that guy up. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some people do that, but most narcissists really don't do that. I mean, if you're thinking about what a narcissist really is, it's somebody who is really like focused on themselves and who they are, and they're not going to be targeting people because that takes a lot of focus on the other person. And I just don't understand why people don't understand that. Like they're thinking about how you can make them feel, how you can make them like yeah, like what can you do in their life, if they're untreated, if they're being treated, if they're healing, they're going to try to think outside themselves about you as much as they can,
Hmm.
hopefully.
Interesting.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of it's almost the opposite of what the stereotype is. It's like you're not focusing on that person to manipulate them. You're
No,
focusing on them for you to make you feel better about yourself.
it's the stereotype is insane. Like, how do they get that? Like, I think it's a lot of hurt people that really want an answer. They really want to have someone to blame. Like, they want their abuser to make sense, and they just think like this person really did want to hurt me. It's easier to think that when you're hurt. Just to explain it, like if you've ever been abused, you know, it's just like, okay, that person did want to hurt me. They were out to get me, and I was this victim. And, you know, like it's easier for them to say that rather than they were part of this confusing relationship with someone who was unhealed and that they were also unhealed. They were in a relationship where they were enabling a unhealed person, and that means they were also unhealed, probably codependent or something else. I mean, I live with a partner who's codependent, and he is very unhealed, and he's done behaviors that I find toxic. And like, it's both, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. I always say, I'm not like saying that people deserve the abuse they get. Abuse is not okay. But like, I'm saying that it takes two to tango in a toxic relationship, you know?
Mm-hmm. Again, I can relate with my own relationship.
Yeah.
When I was going through addiction and depression and in the psych ward for suicide attempts and stuff. And then, you know, some of the very toxic things I was doing came out, and instead of playing the victim, my wife got counseling for herself. I got counseling for myself, and then we got counseling together. So she had some issues she had to heal before she could focus on us together. And I mean, it was a long journey. Took a couple of years of really both of us healing and then healing together. And then, so ultimately it was like I'll never say do the stuff I did to improve your relationship, but ultimately it did improve our relationship because we both healed separately and together.
And that's like the most mature thing you could have done. Like the healing on both sides is exactly what me and my partner are doing. Like, he's gonna go to therapy. I'm like doing the stuff that I'm doing, and like
psychedelics and Instagram
and self CBT, and most likely therapy for myself. Very, very likely. And you know, you're healing on both sides, and you know, I have talks with him and we work through stuff together as well. Like, he'll have he'll have little meltdowns and stuff, and I won't go into it for his privacy, but he'll have some stuff like that, and I'll walk him through it because I'm already a lot healed and stuff, and I know psychology pretty well. So I'll say like, hey, here's why you did this thing. I'm here to help you. I love you. Like, can we work on a compromise? Because, you know, no matter what the diagnosis is of the people who are in the relationship, what matters is that boundaries are respected and that you compromise with the people in the relationship. And if that's happening and boundaries are being respected on both sides and compromising is happening, it doesn't matter if it's a narcissist and a codependent, ADHD partner. It doesn't matter if it's a borderline and a narcissist. It doesn't matter if it's two narcissists. It doesn't matter if it's anybody. I think anybody can be together. I think love is an incredible healing force. I think it's insane, like, that it even exists. I didn't believe in love. And, you know, now I'm sitting here like, I'm disgusted at myself, honestly. Like, this is sappy shit. I shouldn't be saying this. It's just like, it heals, you know? Like,
plus he's a great kisser.
No, that's hilarious. That was so fucking funny. All that, yeah, no, like, love is like the shit. You know, it really does heal. And I feel like one of the reasons I hate the stigma the most is that if my partner had listened to those articles about narcissists and had just run away or whatever, I wouldn't be sitting here today, because it was his faith in me and, you know, his belief in me that got me to where I am today, because he was kind of seeing through me already when, like, even before I was diagnosed, and he was pushing me to realize, like, self-realize and to accept myself and to accept love. And he was there in my darkest time, and he was saying, you're not pathetic for feeling, crying isn't pathetic, you know, like, you're healing, this is important, I'm always going to be here for you. You know, I know you never got this in childhood. And there's points where my feelings still shut off. and like I become really apathetic, and I always say that's the worst. I like for people to be around me when I'm like that. Like I get all narky, and I'm like, yeah, like don't be around me when I'm like that. Um, but he understands me. He doesn't demonize me. Um, I've done some things, you know, like, and he just understands that that's like my symptoms, and he's just like, she can manage them. And I do manage them. I have like techniques that I am going to share on my YouTube and stuff. And I just need the time to figure out how, because literally there's no therapists. Therapists don't really want to help us because of the stigma. There's like nothing out there. I'm like, like the trajectory is being made by people like me and the Nameless Narcissist and, you know, other people like that. We are the history makers. And like, that's insane. Like there's nothing out there for people like us right now. And the fact that like, he's willing to sit there and be there for me and not listen to the bullshit is meaningful as hell, you know?
Mm-hmm. What a sucker. He's such a sucker. No, I'm kidding. All
right, that's it. I'm walking out. I'm going to be one of those walkouts in the interviews where they just get up and leave. He's a sucker, man. He fell for it all. It's all a ruse.
He needs an intelligence test.
Yeah, I know he does. One of those intelligence tests.
Well, that sounds.
Tears. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you're pretty lucky. You're pretty lucky. A lot of people don't have that support.
No, literally, like I can't believe it. Sometimes I'm just like, why haven't you run it? Like, go. Like, what are you doing with me? Like, why are you with me? Like, what is this? I don't get it.
Well, this has been wonderful. I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
The only thing I'd like to say is just shout out to all of my followers. I love you guys so much. If you're listening to this, if you've made it through the hour, you guys have made all the difference. You guys have brightened my day every day I go online. And yeah, I love you guys.
Thank you so much, Tessa. I so very much appreciate it. We've been talking off and on for, I don't know, about a year or so, and I've been trying to slowly convince her to be on the podcast and talk about her issues. So I win. No, but seriously, thank you so much, Tessa. And hey, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, please reach out to me on Facebook at Bunny Hugs and Mental Health Podcast, or on Twitter, Bunny Hugs and Mental Health Podcast, on Instagram, Bunny Hugs Podcast, and on Twitter, Bunny Hugs Podcast. And I love hearing from people, and I love hearing what people think of the show. So yeah, or if you have any questions for my past guests, I can pass those on too, perhaps. I also please beg of you to rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes or whatever it's called, and to listen next week. Oh, and one more thing, maybe tell a friend or two about the podcast. It would be much appreciated. And don't forget, next week I'm speaking with Angelica. And also don't forget to make your beds and take your meds. Bye.